1954 will forever be remembered as the year of Rising Fast. That season of racing glory was across the Tasman, where Rising Fast became the first horse to win a Spring Grand Slam, the Caulfield Cup, Cox Plate and Melbourne Cup in the same year.
Rising Fast doing better than Hellion and Gay Helios, and Rising Fast going on strongly wins the Melbourne Cup from Hellion.
That winning sequence actually extended to 7 races in a row, including 5 Group 1s. It was an incredible run of success, and it largely came about as the result of trouble at home. Whakatane accountant Lester Spring visited the national sales at Trentham for several years before he found the horse that matched his requirements. Spring's research led him to a colt by Alonso from Faster. He wasn't deterred by a goiter near the yearling's windpipe. In fact, the benign growth probably helped keep the price down to 325 guineas. He was known as Joe to the family, but the racing name emerged from Spring's rural base. A journal declared farmers' costs were rising fast, and that was all the inspiration Spring needed. Spring was a meticulous record keeper and noted every race, winning stake, and even some of his bets involving Rising Fast. The early races showed few signs of the success that lay ahead. Rising Fast was gelded, and then an injury sidelined him for several months. Just as the potential started to emerge in late 1953, Rising Fast ran into trouble in the Te Awamutu Cup, finishing 13th out of 18 in the hands of a young rider. The trainer and jockey were suspended for not allowing Rising Fast to be ridden on his merits. Grenville Hughes took the mount in the next race at Paeroa, and Rising Fast seemed to have redeemed himself with an easy win. The public wasn't so forgiving, and Lester Spring believes an angry post-race demonstration by punters sowed the seeds of what happened next. The Waikato District Committee increased the suspensions and, surprisingly, disqualified Rising Fast for 12 months, ending his Auckland Cup hopes. Spring believed the disqualification was driven by fears of a similar demonstration in front of the Queen on Cup Day. The disqualification was lifted on appeal, but too late for the major cups. Rising Fast never raced in New Zealand again. Ironically, those problems paved the way for a successful Australian campaign. Spring says weight penalties for possible wins in the Auckland and Wellington Cups would have discouraged him from crossing the Tasman. The Australian climate worked wonders on Rising Fast's physique, and the local media soon realised a Cups contender was in their midst. New trainer Ivan Tucker was more confident, telling Spring a Cups double was possible. The first leg of the Spring Grand Slam was the Caulfield Cup, and the headlines reflected Australia's admiration. The win was even more dramatic as his regular jockey had to be replaced after being injured in the race before the Cup. Rising Fast was in the middle of a golden run, and this magnificent Cup was to be the first of a unique trophy collection. Next on the agenda was the WS Cox Plate at Moonee Valley. Rising Fast was so far ahead by the finish line, his jockey had time to look back over his shoulder for the rest of the field. This time, the trophy was silver, still precious, and about to be matched by an even bigger prize. Rising Fast was virtually unbackable by Cup Day after winning the McKinnon Stakes, and as it turned out, he was unbeatable.
Now Rising Fast comes away from Gay Helios, with Hellion finishing 2 to their 1 wide out in the centre. Rising Fast doing better than Hellion and Gay Helios, and Rising Fast going on strongly wins the Melbourne Cup from Hellion. Gay Helios third and fourth.
These were the days before television, and New Zealanders had to rely on the radio and newspapers to convey the joy of that Spring Grand Slam. Just to round out a phenomenal carnival, Rising Fast won the Fisher Plate to take his stakes earnings in Australia to £33,000. The addition of the Melbourne Cup rounded out an impressive trophy collection. But the celebration soured in the following months when the trainer was suspended for a positive swab on another horse at his Auckland stables. Veteran Australian trainer Fred Hoisted was set the challenge of preparing Rising Fast for a unique double. Caulfield and Melbourne Cup wins in successive years had never been achieved. The fact that he struggled for form throughout 1955 wasn't obvious when Rising Fast swept around the field to win the Caulfield Cup by 3 lengths, keeping alive the hopes of that dream double. A shocking performance in the Cox Plate raised questions with officials, but the public was inspired by his second win in the McKinnon Stakes, and by the time he lined up for the Melbourne Cup, he was 2-to-1 favourite, despite carrying 10 stone.
But now Williamson calls on the top weight, and Rising Fast is straining every muscle. Under the whip, Toparoa's holding him at bay. Williamson riding desperately on Rising Fast, but he can't make it, and it's Toparoa's cut. It's Toparoa first, Rising Fast second, Sir William third.
So the dream of a unique place in racing history was shattered by Toparoa, another New Zealand horse carrying 34 pounds less. Rising Fast was buffeted throughout the 2 miles and finally had to deal with Toparoa shifting out in the final run home. There was no protest, but the stewards handed a heavy penalty to the winning jockey for failing to take corrective action. Another Melbourne Cup tilt in 1956 was unsuccessful, and Rising Fast was retired after 65 races for 24 wins, 17 seconds and 2/3. His stakes winnings of £66,765 were a record at the time. Rising Fast was sent to the family farm in Te Awamutu, where he lived the good life, occasionally getting into mischief for demolishing the flower beds. Australians retained a special affection for Rising Fast. This group made a pilgrimage in 1970, and Christmas cards continued to arrive years after his last race. It was only natural then that Rising Fast was inducted into the Australian Racing Hall of Fame with the citation as one of the greatest gallopers ever to grace the Australian turf. Rising Fast passed away at 28, leaving a legacy of an exceptional record and a glittering trophy collection that only the most optimistic owners could ever hope to match.